Written in 1849, the poem Anabel Lee was published the same year, just 2 days before Poe's death on October 7. It appeared in two newspapers, the Richmond Examiner and the New York Tribune, and then in the 1850 edition of the works of the late Edgar Allan Poe. Using a melodious narrative form, the speaker laments the death many years ago of his beloved young bride Anabel Lee. His loss moves him to state that envious angels caused the girl's death to separate the young married couple. He tells briefly of her funeral and entombment in her sepulchre by the sea. The narrator then reveals that he has been unable to accept their separation. Since her death, he has spent night after night at her tomb, an astonishing and perverse example of the immortality of young love. The poem consists of 6 stanzas that range from 6 to 8 lines each. The poem uses repetition and rhyme to create the qualities of unity and euphony, or a pleasing musicality. The repeated use of the thee, lee, we, and me offer a link from stanza to stanza throughout the poem. The name Anabel Lee appears at least once in every stanza, and the phrase kingdom by the sea also appears frequently, adding to the unified structure. Repetition of keywords within lines gives the poem its pleasing sound, while at the same time emphasizing main ideas. Let's see the summary of the poem. Poe introduces the setting of Anabel Lee in the first 2 lines. Though vague, his use of many and many year ago shows with its repetition that the poem will tell about an event that occurred in the far past. The physical location, a kingdom by the sea, and the use of the abstract time frame produce a romantic, legendary quality for the narrative setting. These lines also establish the iambs. Here, however, the first 2 syllables may be read as a spondi, a combination of 2 stressed syllables in a row. If one emphasizes both words, it was, and keeps stress also on the first syllable of many, the poem begins with the strong effect of 3 stressed syllables in a row. Lines 3 and 4 introduce the character of Anabel Lee. Her description as someone whom you may know adds to the legendary quality of the poem, and the use of the personal pronoun you creates a feeling of intimacy between the speaker and the reader. The speaker's relationship to Anabel Lee is introduced in lines 5 and 6. Her devotion to the speaker, whom we later learn was her husband, appears in the fact that her only thought was to love and be loved by the speaker. The repetition of love and loved emphasizes the relationship between the two. The repetition of the word child in line 7 establishes the youth of both characters at the time of Anabel Lee's death. It implies that their love was an innocent love, removed from the corruption that may be associated with the adult world. The 8 of line 2 from the first stanza presents the phrase as a refrain, creating a harmonious linking effect every time it is used in the poem. Lines 9 to 12 associate the relationship between the speaker and his bride with heavenly qualities. Through repetition of the words love and loved, the magnitude of the feelings develops. The suggestion that angels, the winged seraphs, envy or covet the lovers' feelings for one another elevates this relationship above any other on earth or in heaven. In line 13, the pronoun this refers to the jealousy of the angels introduced in lines 11 and 12, while line 14 repeats the refrain from the first 2 stanzas. In line 15, the speaker names the cause of Anabel Lee's death. A chilling wind emerges from the sky, and so her death is tied to heaven and the jealousy of the angels. In the night, an appropriate time for an insidious deed to be executed by the covetous angels. The speaker in lines 17 to 20 describes Anabel Lee's funeral. Also, she is further characterized with the reference to her high-born kinsmen. The reader discovers that she belonged to an upper-class family. The use of the formal word sepulchre rather than a more common word such as tomb adds to the impression of the girl's birthright. The word sepulchre also has a more formal tone to it, suggesting the finality of the couple's relationship. This finality, the speaker's total isolation from his love, is also developed by using the words shut her up and away from me, rather than using a phrase such as placed her there. Note that this stanza concludes with the refrain, which also lends a note of completion to the lovers' relationship. However, in the final two stanzas of the poem, the reader will learn that in spite of Anabel Lee's death, the speaker has not stopped loving her. The next stanza repeats the speaker's belief that the envious angels caused Anabel Lee's death by blowing a chilling wind from the cloud sky. This repetition serves to emphasize the conflict in the poem, the loss of the speaker's love. Line 21 uses alliteration in its repetition of H, a sound that suggests the airy blow of wind. The word yes followed by an exclamation mark creates the first hint of a frantic tone that will develop in the last two stanzas. The phrase "as all men know" in line 23 adds to that legendary quality of the poem. The refrain appears again in line 24. And a rhyme link occurs in chilling and killing, lines 25 and 26, which are of Anabel Lee's death, and sets the mood for the desperate method of mourning that the speaker unveils in the last stanza. Lines 27 to 29 continue to elevate the relationship between the speaker and his bride by repeating the word love, and by stating that they love more than even older and wiser people. In lines 30 to 33, the speaker asserts that his faithfulness to Anabel Lee, a loyalty that transcends death. The angels have already been referred to as those jealous of the extraordinary love between the speaker and his bride. The phrase demons down under the sea brings to mind the Greek myth of Andromeda, who is about to be devoured by a sea monster when she is rescued by the hero Perseus. Note the alliteration of the letter D in the words demon, down, under, and dissever. To create a heavy sound, the internal rhyme to create a melodious effect, and the repetition of soul to emphasize the extent of the lovers' union. These lines have been connected to St. Paul's epistle to the Romans by Richard Wilbur. St. Paul's 8th chapter reads, "I am persuaded that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God." In lines 34 to 37, the speaker offers proof that his love for Anabel Lee is eternal. He in the form of dreams and in visions for his eyes. Association of Anabel Lee with these heavenly bodies immortalizes her and her love. Alliteration of the consonant B occurs in the words beams, bringing, beautiful, but, and bright. Internal rhyme exists in beams and dreams, and in rise and eyes. In lines 38 to 41, the speaker finally reveals the shocking fact that he visits Anabel Lee's tomb nightly, reposing there next to her. It is also in line 39 that the speaker reveals the fact that Anabel Lee was his bride. Love he feels for her finds expression in repetition of the words "my darling" in the statement that she is his life. The rhymes tide, side, and bride create an auditory link between lines 38 and 39. The final two lines in their parallel construction, both beginning with "in her" and ending with "the sea," create a strong sense of finality. For some readers, the double meaning of the location to identify Anabel Lee's burial chamber, sepulchre, and tomb as the setting of this eternal exchange has the eerie effect of allowing the theme of death to overshadow the